Welcome to each and every one of you. We are here for Global Chamber Author Series. It's an event that we host every month, the third Wednesday of the month. And generally, we host it at 11 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time, with a few exceptions where we try to get a live engagement from those across the pond and beyond in Asia and different parts of the region. So my name is Dr. Dana Austin, and I'm the director for the Global Chamber Author Series. And I'm excited tonight because the format that we normally follow is that one month we have a panel discussion. The following month we have a workshop, and then it alternates back and forth. So if this is your first time here with us, we want to say welcome and put the number 1 in the chat. This way, we will know that this is your first time with us. I do have a few slides, and I share with you that I took this incredible communication course this past year, and they really taught us how to hold your audience attention without slides. And if my coach for that was on board, she would go, But I do find that we have to kind of gingerly ease everybody into that space. So I will be using some slides tonight. Welcome to each and every one of you. And again, for those who are here with us for the first time, we have on board our CEO and founder for Global Chamber. And I know he has some remarks, as well as to let you know which anniversary this is for Global Chamber. Welcome on board, Doug.
Oh,
And normally,
you caught me by surprise. Sorry.
I know I did. I know I did because normally you kind of wait to the end, but I thought let's just kick it off with you at the beginning.
Yeah, I had a 5 o'clock call I needed to make, so I was already starting to make it to come back. So no worries at all. What anniversary are you thinking about?
Global Chambers anniversary.
10 years. Fantastic. So we're taking this anniversary opportunity of 10 years to some extent reinvent ourselves. But one of the things that we recognized is that our system is outdated to get to the level we've kind of we're like rubber bands and glue, and we've wrapped a bunch of things together just to kind of keep things growing and steady going forward. And it's not the kind of robust system that we're going to need going forward. And we need AI incorporated, and we need a portal, and we need a variety of things to add more value for members in our next phase, because our board chair, Dr. Sanjeev Kagram, has tasked us with a 10x, 100x growth challenge. And so for that, we're in the midst of a system change that should have happened a few weeks ago, but we're sweating it out and doing all sorts of fun things. And like those of you who have been through an IT change know, it almost never goes like you planned, and there's all sorts of things that you didn't expect. So it's probably, Dana, not unlike writing a book, in the sense it seems so easy in your head until you actually kind of move forward with it. I mean, isn't that a lot of the value that you have for people who are writing books, is that they come to you probably thinking, hey, this is going to be a walk in the park. And then they get down to it and it's not the walk in the park that they expect. And somehow you're able to get them to make it maybe not painless, but at least across the finish line. So thank you for all the work that you do at Global Chamber. Thank you for all the work that you do with book authors, and you represent so much of what Global Chamber is all about, and that is we all are having an impact, and some days are better than others. Some days are rough. And so we need to pick ourselves up. We need to be part of some community, and the Global Tribe is amazing. And you, Dana, are too. Thank you for leading this session, and we look forward to learning more.
Thank you so much, Doug. If you guys have not had the opportunity to meet Doug, our CEO, he is based in Arizona and in California. An incredible leader, just an inspiration and consistent. I've been a part of Global Chamber for a little over 5 years now, and I'm going to Remember, I said I was going to share some slides, so let me just start with that. And I officially welcome those that put one in the chat room, because that means it's your first time. And we welcome each of you that are returning. Doug also mentioned that we have some incredible members as a part of Global Chamber and making impact globally. So I know we have on board, of course, you don't want to see that. Sorry. I know we have on board one of our globies who just got back from one of the countries in Africa. And I'm hoping that time will permit where you can share that, because our guest speaker has just gotten back from Africa as well. All right. You should be able to see the slides if I'm correct. Thumbs up.
We see them.
Awesome. Okay, so who are we? As I mentioned, we are Global Chamber Author Series. So we're an entity under the umbrella of Global Chamber. And the Author Series was started well over 3.5, almost 4 years ago by one of our members, Gloria Peterson. And some of you have got the opportunity to be on Globinars with Gloria Peterson or at our Transformation Conference in Puerto Rico to meet her as one of our speakers. Or just engage with her and her business as well. She saw that we had several authors in Global Chamber and wanted to create a forum where we could come together. And so that torch was passed on to me a little bit over 1.5 years ago. And I want to keep that momentum going of excellence and collaboration. So Global Chamber, what we do, we come and we engage with authors and aspiring authors. And the Global Chamber Author Series, it's a vibrant community of writers worldwide where we connect, we share our diverse experiences, and we inspire through books, workshops, collaboration projects, and leadership initiatives. And again, I mentioned we meet on the third Wednesday of every month, predominantly 11 o'clock Eastern time, and then alternately sometimes 8 p.m. as we're meeting tonight, because we want to capture people when they can be on board other parts of the world. So engaging, that's the key word. If I ask a question later on of you, the audience, which I will, the answer will be engaging. All right, I introduced myself partially. And as Doug mentioned, I'm here in Atlanta, the Global Chamber Executive Director here. My background, I am a healthcare profession for many years. I'm also a certified tea consultant, and a book was born out of that. I'm a multi-published author, an award-winning best-selling author, and the CEO and founder of Transformational Writers Academy, where we create global authorpreneurs. But the one word that really describes me, not just by myself, but others, is a connector. I find joy in doing that. So tonight, this is after a full day of working, coming home. This has given me such a lift. And I hope you are able to feel the palpation of the energy, not that I'm just giving off, but others, and that which you bring yourself. My latest release is this book here. It's a Transformational Writers Journal, helping writers become authors. And so in the space that I serve in my organization, we create authorpreneurs in 90 days. Yes, 90 days. Writing in their own voice, mind you. I say that clearly, writing in their own voice. We do utilize a tool and a platform that helps to make that easy. And we also have some on that have gone through the program. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention a little bit more about Global Chamber for those who are here for the very first time. You met our CEO, and we have our mission and our vision, and we have a presence globally. So our mission definitely is to accelerate cross-border trade and investment in every region of the world. We do that by engaging top executives exactly like yourselves and leaders with warm connections and timely information to support growth and create success and to make the impact Doug talked about to change the world. And we strive to, in our vision, do business just as easily globally as we would across the street. So where are we? You see the whole world right in front of you. We are global. We are in 525 metros and growing. We're in 5 continents, 195 countries. And I feel like I'm selling a car, but I'm excited. That's all there is. It's easy to be passionate about that which you believe. That I know, and I believe in Global Chamber. We are headquarters in Phoenix, Arizona, at the Thunderbird School of Global Management. And several events take place there. Our members are engaged locally there. And if they're traveling and they want to make their way there, they can engage at Thunderbird at the Global Chamber headquarters. Now, because Thunderbird also is global, they have 30 locations, which we are also connected through them with. So our access is much larger. But tonight, get ready, guys. I mean, what I love for you to do in terms of engagement is to ask questions. I would love for you to use some of those emojis, the reactions. So if I'm introducing somebody, you can either applaud, you can throw confetti, you can send hugs, kisses, but don't cry. I don't want you to use that one tonight. And I don't think you'll have a reason to. But I have the pleasure of introducing someone who's just broken down so many barriers and created records. But I'm going to start with the Global Chamber part of it. Dr. Michelle Boone Thornton has been speaking on our Global Chamber platform for well over 2 years. This is her second year. She became a member in the last year. And also, she broke a record within Global Chamber because she is the first that I know of in the Global Chamber Author Series to speak and then have all three of her children become authors and speak on the panel. Yes, that's confetti. That's an emoji. That's something that it's to be proud of and to be celebrated. So she's actually following her adult children because they were on last month. Yes. And they're incredible in their own right. And it's easier for me to brag about them than a parent because, parents love their own children. One of them is a publisher. Another is an editor. These are their second gigs, if you would. And another one is an artist. So in that space, and along with her husband, she calls it the Tribe of Five, they have everything they need to help make books come alive. And I'm glad to be in that corner, in their space as well. So my way of introducing our guest speaker tonight is that she's an incredible woman, a woman of God, inspirational. She works in mental health. She's a professor. She's an ambassador, civil ambassador. She is a global humanitarian. She's a multi-hyphenate in many ways, but in particular in the author space, and so much more. But rather than to go on, and I want to give some time that you can also ask her questions. So what I will tell you is that this is her latest book. And when I say it's hot off the press, like my hands were burning. And this morning, my eyes were too. So I was going through this incredible book. And it's called Lessons from the Mourner's Bench. And our guest speaker and Global Chamber member is none other than Dr. Michelle Boone Thornton. Welcome, Dr. Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I love speaking at this platform, right? Because you guys get me, right? You're all authors. You get me.
We get you, and we're global. Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. What would you like to say after that introduction to our audience? I do have some questions, but I really want to be led by the space in which we're in to raise those questions and also entertain the ones in the audience as well.
Okay. Well, after that introduction, it's important for people to know, and I came to learn this as a student in the Transformational Writers Academy, that my story is just not my story. You know what? It's something that I've been through, but the goal is to share it with others, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you were instrumental, and there were others instrumental in helping me tell my story. And so that's why we're on the mourner's bench today, because I decided to share this story, very personal story, with everybody.
Yes. Thank you for that, Dr. Michelle, and sharing your story. And one thing I know as a writer's coach is that in order to be able to connect with your readers, to connect with your audience, transparency is vital. Now, you can somewhat choose certain things that you say, I want to touch on this or get into that. But if you choose to go into a subject, being transparent is incredible. And you just so happen to have 3 other books that speaks to that. Could you tell us the title of those books?
Right. I did it's actually a workbook series called
Mm.
Transforming Your Reality, Removing the Mask. And this whole book series was born out of COVID-19. And I'm a professor and a mental health provider, and I was still working at home in isolation. But the video and Zoom was our friend. And so I found myself showing up every day with the same thing. Oh, I'm good. I'm fine. How are you? And everybody had all of these pleasantries. But inside, that really wasn't what was going on. And
Mm.
we were all masking, the death, the destruction, the isolation, the fear that was around us. And so this whole workbook was born out of that. And lessons from the mourner's bench just look specifically at me and masking and my life.
Excellent. Well, what the underlining or the thread that connects all of your books, the series, this one, and I'm sure the ones to come, is transparency, vulnerability, authenticity, and maybe even some fear and some trepidation about should I go there. So when you were when were you inspired to start this particular book, The Mourner's Bench, and what's the significance of the Mourner's Bench? I know it's in the book, but I've got.
Well, the inspiration, and it's really kind of strange because my inspiration comes from many, many things. But a year ago, I was at a retreat. And while I was at this retreat, it was the retreat for women all parts of the world. And we come in and we're really tired and we've been pouring out to everybody. And at this particular retreat, we get replenished and restored. And there was an activity that was led by Dr. Barbara Peacock. And she's the CEO of the Soul Care Institute, right? And so she had us all there, all of these other women who were CEOs and entrepreneurs, and we're there. And she says, I want you all in this activity to go back to the day that you were born. And I thought,
Hmm.
the day I was born. And so she gave us some more prompts. She said, yeah, oh, yeah, you were there. The doctor was there. Your mother was there. The nurse was there. And you were there. What did the room look like? When were you born? And she started taking us down this little trail. And from that place, I started just thinking about that day, not only from my perspective, from the doctors, from everybody's perspective. I was born, and I even say this in the book, in 1959. Okay. And that was, sort of Jim Crow era, and there was separation. And, in the hospital that I was born in, it might not have been air conditioning, and it might not have been the best of everything, but I was there. And my mother was there. And I was born in between 2 stillbirths.
Hmm.
And I started thinking about what that meant for her, just my birth alone. And
Mhm.
and the fact that there was no language for postpartum depression and all of these other things. So that brought me to the story, right? And
Mhm.
from that
Yeah.
story, I traced it all the way back to when I was very, very young. My mother also had a heart condition. So my aunt came and she pretty much raised me.
Mhm.
And when she went back home, I would go spend summers with her. And she loved church, and that's where the Mourner's Bench was born.
Oh, when I tell you it's juicy, look at my hands. I'm rubbing them together because we're not going to tell you the story. We're just getting you excited enough that you're going to want to pick this up, read it, and read it again. Grab some Kleenex. Let me just prepare you for that. Because one thing I know, Dr. Michelle, and we had a conversation earlier today. I called her I'm being extra transparent to you. And I was reading the book, and I sound like I had congestion and all of this on the phone. And I did, because I was so moved by this book and so many facets. Was that your hope, that in sharing this story, that you would move men, women, and young people? And if so, in what capacity?
Well, my purpose really was to tell my story. But then after I read it, right? Because when you're writing, and I learned this through the Transformational Writers Academy, that you just write, right? I had to
Yes,
switch from writing from my head to writing from my heart, and that pulls a lot out of you. And so I was just writing. I wasn't crossing any T's or dotting any I's or anything, like just putting it out there, free
yes.
hand writing. And when I started to read this, the lessons just kind of jumped up off the page. It was like, wow, what I was expecting, and we do it all the time, for people to give us things in life, but they don't really have it to give.
Mm. Ooh. Oh, that's a word in itself, and that's
Right.
something that I don't really want to rush across, that particular statement, because oftentimes, as human beings, some people say we expect from others what we give ourselves, right? Which is unrealistic, and it really sets us up for failure. Wouldn't you agree? And in your experience in mental health as well.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Because, we make decisions not only about people, but about ourselves based
Mhm.
on relationships. And we don't always understand what's underneath the relationship, right? I wanted,
Mhm.
people want mothers and daughters that are very, very loving. And sometimes you can get that, and sometimes you can't. But my mother was one of 14, and she was number 14. And the
Mm.
chances that she had this really nurturing, close, close relationship with her mother just didn't happen. Her sisters, did most of the mother. So when it looked at our relationship, I'm looking for something that she didn't necessarily have to give. And because of
Mm.
the way my aunt came and went out of my life, I had some diagnoses that probably, now they would probably be treating. But back then it was just, oh, you're going to be all right. Get over it. And so
Yes.
you live through that trauma.
I think as women, and this is no discredit to men, but as women, we tend to carry quite a bit. Our load is multifaceted as nurturers, as educators, supporters, and so forth. I see you, El Renee. So, with that, your mother being the last of 14, perhaps your grandmother's tank or a well was just empty by that point. And if that is the case, now she's going into life and in marriage and having children and losing children, and not, like you said, having the tools or the skills or the wherewithal to even put a name on it or a label on it, or even to know how to navigate it. And so, what the work that you do, Dr. Michelle, in this book, but in your career and also in your global humanitarian work, is impactful. So I'm just going to ask you to tell us what your most recent experience was abroad. And I've got to connect you with Dr. Pauline if you're not already connected.
Well, there were so many experiences. Let me tell you, every time I go, it's jam packed. That this year, I went to Kasumu and Kisi and Nairobi, and everywhere I went, there was something that I could just really sink into. But the most, if I have to pick one experience, I was able to join up with other organizations in the slums of Nairobi.
Mhm.
And we went there and absolutely had a mission and got to just meet these girls and learn more about them and just exchange. And one of the things we're working on with this group is a mental health curriculum. And so, and trying to navigate their needs. And you know what? We're all human. We have the same needs, wants, love, hope, happiness. It's the same across borders. And so, when I get in that place and I'm working with kids, and all of my certifications are with kids with mental health, it amazes me because it's the same. It's layered in poverty, yes, but it's the
Yes.
same. And
Yes.
so my mission there was this mental health curriculum. I worked on a mental health curriculum with the International College of Peace Studies last year, disaster trauma. And so that's
Mhm.
kind of what I bring to it. But I get the opportunity to connect with just so many strong, powerful, wonderful women who are transparent, right? And are authentic. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Yes. I'd like to pause to entertain some questions because I'm seeing the hearts come up. I saw Brandon and I see El Renee, and I see people that have been in our Transformational Writers Academy or that are currently in there. So I'm hoping you all will chime in with questions because you have here an expert and then also the unmasking guru and someone who's gone through our academy too. So unmute yourself if you have a question. Let's take at least one or two before we resume this engaging conversation.
Do you want us to raise our hands?
You right there. I hear you. And I see you.
All
Go right ahead.
right.
Thank you,
So my
Monique.
name is Monique Royal Tucker, and I have the privilege and honor of knowing Dr. Michelle Boone Thornton. And Dr. Michelle, could you please talk more about the Academy? This is my first time on uh, the Global Chambers, and I'd like to hear more about that and how um, I, as a woman, uh, can help support the chamber, the academy. Um, talk to me more about that.
Absolutely. Well, the Writers Academy has some projects that we're working on as well. But one of the things that it helped me do um, is to make the time to write because we're
Mm,
busy and we have so many things going on, and we just can't find that time to write. Well, it helped me focus, it helped me set time aside, it helped me do like free writing. And I'm an academic, so I would sit and try to write for hours.
yeah,
Wrong. Wrong. I was just trying to put it all out there. But it taught me like pomodoros where I would take little breaks and I would even play music in my head, right? And you would think music
yeah,
and you're trying to write, but it frees up what you suppress. And you're suppressing
mm,
when you're writing because you still have that mask of perfection on. And
yeah,
you
wanting to
don't
filter.
really, absolutely, woo, Monique, you don't want to go down, right?
Yeah,
Down
yeah.
deep where the real hurt is. And so when I would have this music in my head, I had to release it. I couldn't
Hmm.
hold that and listen to the music and write and think and everything. So it really helped me focus. And so that academy is wonderful. 90 days is a timeline. I'm the kind of person, I need a timeline. You got to
Yeah,
hold me accountable, right? And so we
yeah.
would meet, we had partners. My partner was just, I don't know how she picked my partner, right? He was just wonderful. He was dealing with MS, and he was writing a book and I was writing, and we just, so it's a great place for support. It provides a community of support, right? You
Mm.
think you're going through some stuff and, I got writer's block, I got this, and it just works. It just really, really works. I didn't do this book there, but I took the lessons from that academy and I was able just to pour them into this book. And what really happened, it was a clash. It was the strategies from Dr. Barbara Peacock to the strategies from the transformational writers to my
Mm,
story. And I was
okay.
able to just lay it out as authentic and raw. I was talking to um, uh, Dana this morning, Dr. Austin, and I would tell her after I would write, I would just have to sit in the chair. Right. My husband would be like, "Are you okay?" And because it was just so releasing, it was like I was drained and I had to process what I had just done. But
Oh,
that's
wow.
what true writing is. That's what true, storytelling is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for
Mm.
that.
Thank you for that also, Dr. Michelle. And your question too, Monique. So no question around the process, the outcome, the journey is off limits. So we'll entertain one more question before I resume. So anybody else have a comment or a question? And I went ahead and put the links in the chat for the Academy. And then likewise, like she said, the Academy is also collaborating with Dr. Michelle for other projects, even globally for our young people, because part of that, of what we do is to support youth at risk to become authors, public speakers, and entrepreneurs. Okay, so hop on board. Who else? Pauline, I see you leaning into the screen. I know you want to say something. I just feel the archetype jumping off the screen.
Well,
I
Look,
don't know
I've
I
why.
been
have a question
questioned
for
by
Dr. Michelle.
Pauline before, so I got to get ready for it. Okay, I'm ready, Pauline. Come on.
We have met before, haven't we, Dr.
Yes.
Michelle? And it's a real treat to be here with you. I love what you're saying, and I think I need to get my second and third book out, and fourth book and fifth book out. I have so many ideas. But I'm also dyslexic, so I've been studying a lot about dyslexia and writing and realized why so many of my ideas are on many, many pieces of paper where I do drawings, and I start doing drawings, and I've created my books as drawings. And so I want to look at how I can actually do my books in drawings, because I can create a story. Do you think that would work?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, that is phenomenal. See, the brain is just amazing. You know what I mean? And just because it processes different doesn't mean it's different.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things I use now, and it's because of the age. All right. My hands get tired of writing and all. I just talk into the mic, right? And let the story unfold. And then from there, again, you can go back and put it all together,
Yes.
right?
So I think that's something I'd like to do more, because I create stories in my PowerPoints as then to put them all into words is too laborious, and I just sort of speak them. So I was in Africa for not the first time, but the first time in this part of my life, and I was on stage, and it was really wonderful to speak to a live audience in
Yes.
Tanzania. And so
Mm-hmm.
I really would like to connect with you on that as well. So there's something we can share.
Absolutely, Pauline. We will be connecting. And I just want to say hello to my African family because it's 4 o'clock in the morning there. And they're
Yes.
in
Yes.
here hanging with me. Okay.
Oh my word. When we come together with a message that is impactful and the words I used after reading her book and sharing today was that I was transfixed
Mm.
and transformed. And there was
Trans-
another word. Both of those, right? Because I was glued to it and wanted more, but I was transformed because it also unearthed within me some things that I have journeyed through or may still need to deal with. And I want to be free to show up 100% as myself, liberated. So that's all I'm going to share with you on that. But to speak to the other aspect of what you mentioned too, Dr. Pauline, is the platform that we use at our academy is called Blooksy. I'll put the link there, and it has a talk text feature. And I do see your hand, Brandon, and I see our brother there in Kenya. Don't think I forgot you. It says hi. I'm hoping maybe that's your name. But I'll put that link in there for the talk text aspect of the writing platform. So, Brandon, you have your hand up. So let's take your question, and then I'm going to hop back on to a few of the series questions, and then we'll tie it up with a few questions or comments that you all may have, or what's next, how to become a part of Global Chamber, how to become a part of the Global Chamber series, which is one and the same. Brandon?
Good morning. It's actually 3:36 here in Kenya.
Okay.
Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah,
Asante sana.
karibu sana. I just
Karibu.
wanted to ask the doctor. I noticed she mentioned having worked in Nairobi and Kisumu. I was curious if she has ongoing projects in Mombasa because that's where I'm based, and maybe we could see on how to collaborate in future. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Brandon. The goal is to be in Mombasa in November. And so we'll have your information here and I can make that connection then.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. See, when you ask, you have a probability of getting a response. So thank you for raising that question. Mombasa, Kenya, November. Mark your calendars. Find out how you can get engaged, how you can support that whole journey and process. Thank you for that. And so I want to at least have two other questions I raised before opening it back to the audience again, referring back to the mourner's bench. Um, what was this turning point for you, Dr. Michelle, that said, now is the time that I must not only write this book, but release this book? Because I remember writing one particular book, the one that made me a best-selling, award-winning author. I had written it 10 years prior, but I
Oh,
didn't really.
wow.
Okay, I sat on it. So what was the turning point for you, not only to write the book, but to release the book? Because no one can catch a hold of your dream or your story if you don't
Right.
tell it, if you don't release it.
Absolutely. And so when I left that retreat, a month later, I was in Kenya on stage. This was last year. And,
Mhm,
I'm thinking, what can I share? And so I shared some of the experiences, the lessons that I had learned from the morning bench in Kenya. And the
mhm,
reaction was like overwhelming. Like people connected with the story because they saw their own hidden pain reflected in it. Right.
mhm,
And that moment kind of confirmed it for me that our personal histories are not just for us, right?
mhm.
They are for the healing of others. That
Yes.
turning point was when I recognized that the silence, just the story staying in, at that point, I knew it was no longer an option. These lessons had to be spoken to the world. And so I came back and I talked with my publisher, which is my son, and and
He's
my group, my five, my daughter Courtney and my daughter Marissa, and I was telling them about it, and they were like, "Do it, mom, do it." And so, when the kids say do it, that's it, it's done, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's important to have that circle that will support you moving forward in your calling, in your dream, in your purpose. We have to intentionally surround ourselves with those who will help us to do that. My next question, and I'm going to at least call on two people that have actually gone through the academy as well, or who's going through it as well. If you all may have a question, Erica or El Renee, I'm going to give you all an opportunity before opening it up to the rest of the group. So just be prepared if you do, but no pressure. Okay. I also put the affiliate link in the chat for the Blooksy writing platform that I had mentioned earlier. So I want to make sure that I am addressing what is being raised in our group. And so, what is the word that we are using for our Global Chamber Author Series? Type it in the chat. Please type it in the chat. I'm hoping to see several of you type it. All right. So the next question, and perhaps my final question, because I do want to allow others to do what the chat is saying. I hope it's saying to engage. What do you hope someone on the other side of the world who may not share your cultural or spiritual background take away from your book? And I think this is poignant on so many levels because your work is not just in the United States and your reach is
Right.
beyond, not just in your organization, but also in Global Chamber. What do you hope someone on the other side of the world who may not share your culture or spiritual background take away from the Mourner's Bench?
Well, one thing by embracing the truth that And every story, when you strip it down from the cultural details, it carries that universal element of pain and hope and faith and healing. And,
Mm.
although mine is kind of rooted in the African American experience, in essence, we're all human. It is
Mhm.
everybody's experience. So, I remind people to, don't dismiss your past as like just my story, because every story is a living lesson, right? That has been placed within us so that we can guide and strengthen others. So across the globe, that's what I want everybody to do, right?
Oh, wow. That is so that is so powerful. And what I hear you saying, I'm listening with several set of ears, but what I hear you saying is that your target audience share similar needs globally to be heard,
Absolutely.
to be seen, to be healed, to be understand, to be freed, if I had to sum it up in a very short, succinct way.
Absolutely. Never, and Dr. Pauline says, never underestimate the story of your life,
Yes, yes.
right? It
Oh, I
shapes
love it.
who we are. It shapes
Yeah,
who we are. And when we look where we are and how we got there, that's the story.
absolutely. So Erica or El Renee, these are some of our entrepreneurs and one in the making. If either of you have a question of our special guest, Dr. Michelle, I'd like to open it up to you all. And if somebody want to put questions or comments in the chat, I'm certain to read those. I do want to be mindful of the time. We still have a little bit more time together. Okay, Erica or El Renee, either of you? And I see your hand, Courtney, so we will get to you as well. Okay, Courtney, why don't you go ahead? And if I see either of their hands unmute themselves, then we'll call on them. Oh, so Courtney is one of the five. You heard Dr. Michelle mention the circle of five. Well, she's the first one, actually, firstborn. And that's all I'll say, because if you want to hear more about her, you can listen to last month's Global Chamber Author Series on YouTube, and you'll learn more, not just about her, but about their book that they did collaboratively, she and her siblings. All right, Courtney?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good, good. So I actually had a question, but Dana, you kind of asked that question already. The question I was going to ask Mom was if she had any reservations about releasing the book, because she was so vulnerable in the book and talking about the things that she's gone through just throughout the entirety of her life and just the struggles and that sort of thing. But she kind of answered that question. So I just wanted to make this a shout out to Mom and just say thank you for that. Me, my sister, Marissa, and VJ were the first to read through it. And for me, it was very impactful. There's a lot of things right now that I feel like I'm going through, just like internally. And there's a lot of lessons that my mother shared in this book that were just timely. They say somebody's hindsight can be your foresight. And I feel like that's
Mm.
exactly what this book was for me. It was just so timely, the things that, Dr. Boone Thornton talks about what she went through. And I just thank you, Mom, for being so open and vulnerable and sharing that with everyone.
Oh, wow, Courtney. Pardon the typo if I misspelled something, but Courtney, I was going to ask you that question of you as the firstborn, but also the first one of your siblings to raise a question and a comment, because I did ask your mother about, sharing this, and then how did the family feel? And so I was really pleased to learn that you were a part of reading it, reviewing it, editing it, and then now to hear that this story is showing up timely for you. And I think what you said earlier, Dr. Michelle, continues to ring true at this moment. Someone is waiting for your story. And as Dr. Pauline said earlier, only you can tell that. Only you can tell it. Wow. Okay. Who else? What legacy? Yes, Shantora, Monique, Dr. Michelle. Courtney, on what the chat is alive and well. One other person, maybe someone who hasn't had a question or comment yet.
Hey Dana, this is Marissa. I don't mind hopping in here
Awesome.
as the second born, if you will.
Of the five,
Um,
she's
Yeah, I was just going to say kudos as well, and then maybe a note for those parents out there. I think sometimes as parents, you really want to, of course, set the example and show yourself in your best light in front of your kids and others. And so when talking to Mother about this, when she was forming it and even writing it to piggyback Courtney, there was a lot of vulnerability there. But for us, we were excited. We were like, we never knew this about this, share it because we could already see the impact that it would have. So I would say for those people that are parents that, might feel like you have to, model perfection, just know that there's something in your story, even if not perfect, that your kids and even others can really benefit from. So even though it might be a big vulnerability moment or scary, I would definitely encourage you to do it. Yeah.
oh, well said and well received, Marissa. Well said and well received, because you're given permission and courage to parents to tell their story, regardless of the fear, regardless of the shame, to push through so that we can come out free on the other end. Thank you so much. I've got to hop on the healthcare side. So since my background is in the healthcare setting, when I started reading The Mourner's Bench, if you could just see me right now, right? And I do have a journal here, so I'll just show you. All right, so here I am opening it, right? I did the digital though. I prefer hard copy books. And I'm reading it, and I'm turning it like, oh, I don't know what's next. There's a little bit of excitement, there's a little anxiety, there's a little suspense. But from the healthcare perspective, she painted that picture so vividly in the hospital on the day of her birth. I felt like I was there. And she also shared the disparities provided to patients of diverse races in the hospital. And I want to raise this because this is very important to me as a healthcare provider. The infant mortality is exponentially higher for Black babies, period. What did you say, 3 to 4 times higher?
Yes. Mhm.
Imagine that. It's also due to access, it's due to education, it's due to uh, programs in particular neighborhoods that may not be in others. And I've been a part of that in healthcare, where I worked in healthcare systems that had certified programs for strokes or certified programs for cardiac disease. So if you live in that neighborhood and you happen to have a stroke or have a heart attack, and you can get there within hours, you get the treatment. But if there's not a healthcare system in your area that offers that, then your risk of mortality increases exponentially. So I want to at least put that out there. So whatever your stories, how about we make a difference? How about we make a difference? So any final comments, Dr. Michelle, or anybody else who has an additional question?
I do have one additional statement. I'm Carletta. I just wanted to say, I know that people say that, people are learning from reading, but people also learn from watching. And for me, I've known Michelle for years, and I've learned from watching her. Some things that she's done, it taught me, okay, oh, Carletta, do it this way next time. You saw how it turned out when Michelle tried it that way. So a lot of times we don't realize, even we're giving instructions to people, do this, do that. We can write it until you're blue in the face. But a lot of people learn by watching the way you handle your stuff, and it makes a big difference in youth as well as adults, in health issues, mental health as well. A lot of people just sit back and they're watching and they're trying to figure out, how can I fix this? How can I learn? And then they'll look back in time, they'll remember maybe, someone else did something that caught their eye and they learned from it and had a successful response.
Absolutely. And thank you, Carletta. And Shantora said in the chat, it's hard to be what you cannot see. We appreciate your
Ooh,
examples,
that's good.
Doc. It is hard to be what we cannot see. So it's important that we demonstrate to the youth behind us, yeah, or holding us up, whichever way you want to look at it, the possibilities. And I love this quote that says, the limit of your present view is not the limit of your possibilities. But they've got to have a view, guys. We've got to give a view. Okay, so we heard from Marissa, we heard from Courtney, and then we have Sir Virgil, the son. So, Sir Virgil, you've got to comment. We've got to wrap this up. And if hubby's on too, we want to give him an opportunity.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. Yes, hello everyone. I'm Virgil. I'm Dr. Michelle Boone Thornton's son. I helped her with publishing it, and I am really happy that the book is out now. That other people will be able to read it and be impacted by it. When she sent me the photo of, her having the physical copy, it made me surprisingly emotional because I know this book meant a lot to her, and I was just really happy and grateful to be a part of that process and to know that this final product is really going to change people's perspectives. So feeling very, very grateful right now, and go mom. Woo!
How does that feel to be celebrated by your 3 adult children who have had a role in not just this book, but your previous ones?
It feels really good. And when I came to them, even with the idea, you know, it was like, if they approved, I could put whatever out there, as transparent as I wanted to be. Because, at the end of the day, what my kids think and my husband, it really is all that matters, right? So I was like, at one time I was like, what are people going to think? They're reading this and that, because people view you a certain way, right? You just come off with this image. I can remember going to Africa this time with somebody that was there the last time, and this time they really got to meet me. And they said, oh, I had you all wrong. I thought you were this, because people see you one way, they don't know the real story. And so I
Yes.
think that's what we've been trained to do, just to put on a happy face all the time, or, you know what I mean? Regardless of what's going on. And so this says, no, this is who I am. This is how I feel. And I'm going to heal from those feelings and not bury them and carry them.
Ooh, not bury them and carry them. If you like alliteration, there's quite a bit in this book, and I love it. It's a sing-song, beautiful journey, a literary journey. And I do see you, Allison. In the chat will be the link for Mourner's Bench. If you can plug that in, I was trying to do that, Dr. Michelle. And then we'll entertain, or if one of your children can do that for your mom, please. We'll entertain Alice's question. Go ahead, Allison.
Hopefully you can hear me. I am so, so excited. Hello, best friend, Dr. Boone, Michelle. I am so excited. My question really is around being authentic. How do you, as a writer, keep your information very authentic in terms of when there are so many computer aids to help people write today, to make sure that you maintain who you are and what the purpose of your book is? Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. And the best way to do that is write from your heart. Nobody can write what's in your heart. Nobody, right? Because what's there is there and God is there. So write from your heart. Because when you get in your head, you start, that cognitive process, and then, you want to, so just write from your heart and tell your story. Nobody has a story like yours.
Absolutely. She says, write from your heart, not just your head, and tell your story, because nobody has a story like you. No one can tell it like you. And even though you have tools that can kind of augment, you have to tell it in your voice, because people connect with your authentic self. Yes, Allison, thank you for that question. And Tamiko, yes, we've got orders that have already gone through. People said, I've just purchased the book. So if you haven't seen the link, click on it, copy it, save it so you'll have it. But if not, you can find her on Amazon or her website where you can order the book. There it is. Yes. Hold on. Let me get a picture with you holding it up. Can you hold it one more time? All right. And I'm going to save that. If each of you can, if you care to uncover your video and we can do a picture, if you care to. We've got people all the way at 4:30 in the morning in Kenya showing their beautiful faces. Thank you. Thank you, guys. A few more, and I'm going to take a quick shot. Awesome. We just unmasked. Excellent. You didn't realize you would have an exercise in one of her books tonight. So I'm just going to say GC Unmasked. We'll follow up on our LinkedIn. I'm going to share a few slides to kind of close things out. And I'm not sure if our vice president is on. If he is, I want to give him an opportunity to say something too. Cesar Trabanco and Cesar and Dr. Michelle were part of our Transformational Writers Academy conference in Puerto Rico. So they also know each other. And it's just iron sharpening iron, guys. I will share some things that are upcoming in the Global Chamber series and also in the Academy. I am not prepared to take a picture. No worries. It's no pressure. When the timing is right, that's for writing or anything. Job. That's my take. All right, I'm going to share these last few slides. Can you all see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. So some of you have questions about Global Chamber. Globalchamber.org, and you can join in the metro that's closest to you. We have in Nairobi, for those who are over in Kenya. We also have in Nigeria, the Lagos area. We have in Ghana, Accra, and I'm mentioning the continent of Africa. We have in Zambia, Tanzania, South Africa, Ethiopia. So that's just the continent of Africa and several more countries. But once you go to globalchamber.org, you can look at the mapping and see where we have a presence and an actual footprint. And in the United States and in the Caribbean and in South America, we have a very vital presence there, as well as Asia and Europe and so forth. So the value and the benefits is definitely you become a part of Global Chamber Author Series as an option. And we have several other groups, actually, Dr. Pauline leads out in our women's group. I want to give her a minute to talk about that. But let me show what we have coming up before we do that. So for those of you who are business leaders, Transformational Writers Academy has a business anthology that's in the making, and you'll get published in 2025 and become a best-selling author in this anthology. So you bring your strength in the business arena. If you're interested in that, you can reach out to me on Global Chamber or Dana at globalchamber.org or LinkedIn, Dr. Dana Austin. And I'll put those in the chat. And then this process would take place and the book will be published in November. So we have only a few slots left for that. We are going to have a conference in September in Atlanta. It'll be a one-day conference. You'll meet up. We'll do photo shoots. If you physically can't get here, not to worry, because we have people in Bermuda and India that's a part of this, United States, and other countries. And they're still going to be able to get their pictures taken. We have our 90 Days to Manuscript Masterclass that just started a week and a half ago. And so at the end of October, they will finish their manuscript and have the option for having it published this year. All right. So with Global Chamber Author Series, as you can see, I love the quote by Stephen Covey, start with the end in mind. We started this journey again this year, January, and we meet every month, alternating between panel and guest speaker. So next month will be September 17th, and that'll be back to 11 a.m. I know at the end of the year, 12/17, it will be 8 p.m. We have so much that's coming out. Stay tuned, stay connected, get involved. And what questions do you have? And I apologize that my phone in the background is giving me the news. What final comments or questions do you have? And then say, sir, if you had anything to say. We want to thank you, Dr. Michelle Boone Thornton. This was not enough time. We also want to acknowledge your sorority that showed up in full force tonight. That's what sisters do. We appreciate you. And please mention your sorority's name. I want to get it right.
Okay, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I see my
Yes.
ladies, they got the blue and white if you're looking at their pictures.
I see. I see. And we want to thank our Global Chamber members that are on. We got quite a few, Terry and Colleen and many others. Thank you all for coming. Those who come for the first time, we hope it's not your last. Join us, be a part of this global tribe, and look for us on LinkedIn. We'll do a little tag if we have your full name here. If we don't have your full name, there's no way I could tag you. So let us know if you want to be tagged in the LinkedIn. You can also email me, dana@globalchamber.org, or find me on LinkedIn at Dr. Dana Austin. Thank you, guys. We look forward to seeing you, and read the book and make sure you do a review. Because if you read it and she has no feedback, it doesn't pull up the rankings. So read the book, do a review. Thank you so much. Paulina, soon you and I are going to have our one-on-one. I promise you. I promise. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Okay.
Bye-bye.